Hello and welcome to SML Excuse the Disturbance, a little play on, pardon the interruption. I'm Primetime Triple Zero, joined by Damon Young Hertz. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. My mom's gonna watch these, so let's keep it PG.
Yes,
Let's keep it PG.
we're a family-friendly show, so let's go ahead, get started. We got a countdown timer, so we'll see how good we are if we can stay on the clock here. First topic of the day here, Mike FML looking like he's got a legit shot at the playoffs. He's 9-6 right now. If you know Mike FML from way back in the day, he was 500 Mike. Now Mike actually has a shot at making the whole thing. What do you think about that?
I think it's really exciting for the NFC. I mean, I played Mike week one of this season, and I only beat him because he beat himself. And I think if Mike can take care of those turnovers, he's gonna be really dangerous. I said it. If I'm in the NFC, I don't want to face Mike round one. I think that's very dangerous for whoever's over there looking for an easy round one matchup. I think Mike. I think he's got a good shot.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Mike is he knows what he has to do. Sometimes he just can't execute it. If you're ever like, do you know, it's like a habitual smoker or an alcoholic, they know they need to stop drinking, but sometimes they just drink anyway. Mike FML will throw those interceptions. He knows he shouldn't throw into triple coverage, but he's like Brett Favre. He just can't help himself. This season, that's not been the case. He's been a lot more calculated on third downs. He's been a lot more just smart with his blitz calls, his zone coverage. Now, early in the season, wasn't the case so much. He actually blew like a 2 or 3 score lead, but he's kind of gotten a roll and a rhythm in a division. And I'm looking at this division that honestly, he's got a shot at not only this season being very competitive, but in the future. Raider fans are number one guy. We'll talk about him in a second here, but Mike could win this division later on, and I would not want to play him in the playoffs either. Right now, he's the 8th seed. He can sneak into that 7th seed because KP has some really, really, really tough matchups left to go here.
Yeah.
As we got about a minute 15 left here on this topic. Anything else you're
Yeah,
seeing in that NFC with Mike?
I was just gonna say I haven't been in the SML long, so I've only seen Mike's early season this cycle, and not to get on too hard, but didn't impress me in
Yeah,
his manner of performance. And then he played me week one, and I was kind of like, wait, I'm gonna lose this game. I'm definitely
yeah,
gonna lose this game. Then he just handed me the win. So I think he had a couple of those early on where he could have been, I don't know his actual numbers, but he could have been undefeated.
yeah.
Uh, so so I don't know if this is just very for new for Mike in his Madden career, but I like this Mike more than last season Mike.
And the other thing is he's had some quality wins too. He beat QP. He beat Gutta, which is a tough matchup. He beat Raider Fan. Those guys are tough competitors. Those aren't easy wins. I think he's won 7 of his last 9 games. He has a game against the Bucks owner, Stephen MC. I won't kick him again on his birthday. I'll promise you that. It'll be another day. And then Straw Blacks to finish the season. So he's got some tough matchups left to go here. But as we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap up this topic and we're gonna transition now, my friend. We're gonna transition to the
To the next one.
AFC. Who do you see being the AFC favorite?
I don't. I hate to do this, because he's in the house.
Oh,
He's of the blood. He's of
come
the
on!
blood.
Don't do it! Don't do
You
it!
know. Now, I would love to root for him if he wasn't, in my conference. But I think Prime. I think the AFC favorite is going to be Dan He this
No,
season. I think he's putting a lot of hours. You did the hours check the other
that's
day.
crazy.
He's one of the top hour dogs in the league. He's got a really nice defensive scheme. He's getting some outside help. Prime, I'll tell you this right now. He's getting some outside help from some sources.
Tell me,
I won't
tell
say
us.
anything more than that.
You gotta
I
say
won't
it.
say anything more than that right
Oh,
now. I'm gonna keep that one close to the chest right now. But I'll say Dan He is the favorite. He only has 3 losses on the season. You know, I myself on the back. I'm 2 of those.
you gotta give us
So
a
if
hint.
he does,
Who's the outside source?
an old Madden legend used to go by Hale. Used to go
Okay,
by Hale in
no clue who
the
that is.
community. I don't know if anyone knows him, but he's getting a couple of secrets from that guy.
I'll say this
I'll
about
say
Dan.
that.
I'll say this about Dan, and I think he's right up there with a favorite. You know how LeBron? You're a LeBron fan, aren't you?
Yes, of course.
What does LeBron do? What is he known for his longevity?
He's sticking to his discipline, sticking to what he
Cryogenic
needs to do.
chambers, go
Yeah.
doing the medical stuff, hot baths, whatever. Dan says he got this hot tub to help, spend quality time with his family. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Mm,
Them wrists,
mm.
those fingers, arthritis.
Um,
He's working on that arthritis there in that hot tub is all I'm saying. And
that's a
and
great call. That one slipped right by me.
yeah,
That one slipped
the
right
whole
by me. That's a
time,
great
the
call.
whole time I knew it. Now I think he is right up there. He's playing great defense, a very solid defender. I still think that his offense is a little bland, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, defense wins championships. We've seen with the Eagles against the Chiefs. I do think that Dan is right up there as a favorite. Obviously, got to go myself. But other
Of
than
course.
that, I'm curious. You're the number one seed.
Currently,
You haven't won
yeah,
a playoff game yet, but I think
yeah.
you got that bye week. As long as you can hold on to that, it's gonna be tough for you. I think you have a
Mm.
legit shot. And Bomber, I mean, Bomber's he missed the playoffs last year. He's back at the 2 seed now. It looks like. Just I feel like it's a toss up, and nobody's playing like light years ahead of anybody. I feel like we're all kind of very close together.
Yeah, and I was saying in the chat, I was like, it's a bad time to be a top seed when you
It
have
is.
prime time 000 there at
Yes.
the 6 or 7, maybe, you know.
Yeah. As
You-
we're wrapping up here, about 3 seconds left here. You can lead us into our next topic.
yeah. So we got, something that's been brought up, more recently than others as we're approaching the end of the season, but tanking has been something of a discussion. We got some teams who are out of town,
Yeah.
they having some connection issues, with the Wi-Fi. So, Prime, what do you think about the idea of our teams tanking? What do you think it's good for the SML? Bad? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's a great question. You obviously you have your NYTs of the world who the dude's always gone and he's always got something going on. So I don't see him being one of them. But sometimes you have to wonder when you see elite teams or teams who have made the playoffs consistently, and then they drop way down in the seedings. Now we've seen it with Woods a time or two, and people were like, "Is Woods tanking?" I don't think Woods is a tanker. Listen, to tank, it means you have to play a complete game and then lose right at the end, which means you're willing to give up your time. One thing about Woods, he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. He's an old man, so I don't see him being a tanker. Now, same thing with Matt. People say Matt could be tanking. He's dropped off a little bit this cycle, to tell you the truth, after season one. Won a Simbardi, and I don't think he's made the playoffs since. I do think tanking is a thing. I do think it's bad for the league. I don't have an issue with resting your starters, or not, excuse me. I don't have an issue with playing young guys in certain situations, but to intentionally throw a game is just not good integrity.
Yeah, I think if teams are tanking, and that's one side of the discussion. If they are, I do think it's bad for the SML. I mean, like Prime, like where's the competitive spirit of the league?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it feels like the race to the first 10 weeks, and if you have a solid record in the first 10 weeks, you might get a little couple easy games on the back end that if they were played in the beginning of the season, they might not have been so easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked the league, like, where's the competitive spirit? I mean, it's just 45 minutes, a couple of times a week. I mean, if we're talking about giving up draft capital, if you're not fighting for the first seed,
Yeah.
I don't think you're really giving up too much talent. There's a lot of talent in the draft. The difference from 7 to 17, in my opinion, isn't worth sacrificing the integrity of the league. And we are talking about the integrity of the league here.
Especially at this point in the cycle where draft picks are diminishing and everybody has their quarterback. Like if you look at the ratings, these quarterbacks are stacked, they're loaded. It's not worth losing your integrity because it's a hard thing to come back from when you violate a rule or when you break a rule. We'll talk about suspensions a little bit later on in the show, but it's a hard thing to come back from, and it's an image thing, and that is tough. As we got 10 seconds here, I do believe it's hard to tell sometimes, but I do believe it happens, and you just got to try to make the most of it and hopefully catch the people who do it. But we're on to the next topic here. There's a guy in the league who is going to go back to back number one seed, I believe, in the NFC, in the conference that everyone clowns. Raider fan, Alex. What do you think about that?
I thought I haven't seen too many of Alex's games. We crossed paths, just a little bit in our primer 10 years, both of us. And then I know he had a couple mediocre seasons in a mediocre conference. And
Yeah,
then last season really burst onto the scene, that number one seed. I think a lot of people were asking fluke, not fluke. And he
yeah,
played dump in the playoffs, I believe.
yeah.
And that's a tough matchup. So you can't really blame him for losing. But then he comes out this season, same exact season. We're not there at the playoffs yet to see what he does, but I'm think if I have to, lean one or the other, I would say that Alex is legit. I mean, you've heard his commentary voice.
He got a good
If his
voice.
gameplay is anything to speak
He's got a
on,
good voice.
his commentary voice, that's legit. So I think I'm gonna land in Alex is legit camp
Have you seen him
going
play
forward.
iRacing or whatever he does? Do you notice that?
No, no, no.
Yeah, I guess he's like an
iRacing
iRacer or something. And also, he's a YouTuber. Do you know that?
with the wheel,
With the wheel. Mm-hmm.
with the wheel and everything.
Yeah,
Mm,
full setup,
okay,
like $10,000 setup.
really?
I made that last part
Jeez.
up, but I think that I do think he has at least one of those like $50 wheels, like you get at GameStop. But
I
look,
didn't know that.
here's the deal. I played him once. I took him. I took him for granted. I thought I was going to be playing like Fig. And I got Alex, and Fig and Alex are
Mm.
different men, and he beat me. And he reminded me of Matt a little bit. You ever play Matt? You played Matt. You're in the same division.
Yeah, I played Matt a couple of
Yeah, you
times.
play.
Yeah,
I,
a
I don't
little
know
bit.
about you, but when I play Matt, if like sometimes you feel like you should be just blowing him out, and he's just hanging around. He's just jabbing your body, and then you get to round
Yeah.
12, and all of a sudden you're out of breath and you can't breathe, and then he just slips right past you. That's what Alex is a little bit. He runs the ball. He takes his check downs. He plays good defense. I watched him play your dad a couple times. He's a great player. I have a high level of respect for his style, and he gives your dad fits. I think they're 1-1 against each other in
Mm.
the last couple of games they've played. So he is a legit player. He has a style that fits the playoffs. Run the ball, check it down, play good defense, and in a conference where you don't have any guys who are way above the pack, I think that makes a big deal. And it wouldn't surprise me if Alex makes a Super Bowl this season.
Yeah, but you said he plays like Matt. What's his fourth down opinion?
Oh, he's
What's
a
his
little more
fourth
aggressive.
down
He's
style?
a little more
A little more
aggressive than.
aggressive?
So he's a more aggressive version of
Okay.
Matt. I'll say that. So
Okay.
Matt plays like a Christian. This guy, I'm not going to make any jokes about religions, but not so much Christian. So
Oh,
let's
so it's not so much a fit for the SML. We're gonna
yeah
have to mold him on
yeah exactly.
mold
Uh,
him on that.
Next topic here on the show: suspensions. A lot of them are happening right now. Run pass
Yeah, I've
ratio.
noticed that.
A lot of run pass ratios. Do you think that rule's right?
I completely and understand the intent of the rule, and I think it's a great, and I think the rule needs to be there, and the switch between the no negotiable, lower the ratio. I think that's great for you guys, for the admins who are having to deal with all the situations. Like that's good for you guys. I think it's just funny when I'm a victim. I do this too. Whenever you fall to the suspension, and then you say to yourself, if I probably just would have ran, I would have won the game anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody probably says that, but then a couple games later, and you're checking your run pass ratio, make sure you don't break it. I think the rule is good. I think it's supposed to be there, and I think if we all just probably ran the ball more, we all probably win more games.
Yeah, it's hard because I fell victim to the rule myself. Who was I playing? I got down against T
Was that
Steel.
tiny?
Uh,
Oh, T steal.
yeah, T Steel was up on me. That was a fluke. I'll say it. That was a fluke, but he was up on me, and I got down, and then there's like I was down two scores, like a minute and a half left. I get a touchdown, get an onside kick. I'm driving downfield, and I just had to throw my way out of the hole, and then I broke the rule by like 5 or 6 passes. And in that instant, I feel like maybe it's justified to break the run pass ratio, but at the same time, like you said, would I even
Yeah,
be in that situation if I'm running the ball and being more balanced? And
yeah,
from an admin perspective, to not have to go back and to watch tape because we all have lives here, and whether we're doing shows or whether we're just playing our games or in chat, to ask people to go back and chart tape and to look at the score and it's a lot of work. And then when you throw in the fact of people saying, "Hey, Prime likes Dan more than this guy," or Prime likes this guy more than the other, so he's not going to suspend. Like, it's just nice to have a black and white. Like, this is what we're going to do, even if it's a little inconvenient sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the money. I think there should be no tweaking of the rule. I think the suspension is going to come and go. I mean, there's been a couple recently, but early in the season they weren't popping up that much. I think last season they were a little bit mild. I think we're going to a couple every season. That's just how some games are going to go.
And back in the day, like last man, they had a little ticker that would pop up. Do you remember? And it would show how many runs or
Yeah,
passes you
yeah.
had. That's gone now. They just
Now
took
you have
that
to
out.
pause it, and some it's a little bit
And you get two
too much.
pauses. It's a little
Yeah,
goofy. It's a little goofy. Like I just pray that I got it right, just about. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a weird thing, but other than that, I think rules as a whole, like in terms of following them, other than our alleged tanking crisis, it's been good. I feel like we've been pretty clean the last season or two with rule violations, so that's always encouraging here. Is I'll let you lead us into here
yeah.
to our final topic of the day.
So we all know that there's been a little bit of a hole in the SML recently, and that's because we've the departure of a long tenured SML member,
Yeah,
QP,
yeah,
has temporarily left us, and you get a little moment of silence here for him. All right, that's enough.
yeah. It
All
was
right,
good.
what do you think about this QP and the departure and what it means for the AFC, for the favorites, and like
Yeah.
what's going on
I
here?
see you
How does Gus
cheesing.
feel?
Were you low key? Let me ask you this: was the Dan He household a little happy when old QP hung up the cleats for a season, or were you guys mourning?
I'll say this. I'll say when QB left, I was very upset because as a competitor, I really want to win and I want to win against the best. And I had a bad record against QB. So when he left, I was like, going to leave before I could win the division when he's in it. And so a little bit of that with QP because I haven't beat him this cycle
Mhm.
and I had him on my record and I was staring at it probably the whole season like I'm going to get him this season. I'm going to get him this season.
Yeah,
And he up and leaves. And yeah, it's a little disappointing as a competitor and but if I'm going to be honest, it's nicer to see the playoffs not to
you
have
see
that whole,
ZBD Pats fan, and you're like, okay,
yeah.
I could do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot less motion going on in the standings if you get what I'm putting down there,
yeah,
Brian.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll say this: uh, QP is a good friend of mine. I've known him for many years. We've had SML meetups together. He rode in the back seat of the Hellcat that we drove around. We shared many laughs, tears, good moments together. Um, but I'll also say this: I think he will be back, and I think he will be back with vengeance. Whatever he's got going on, we don't know, but he needs to take a step away. I'll also say I'm so glad that I beat him in that playoff game because I would be so upset right now if I didn't beat him in that playoff game and then he quit. Um, I also he said that he wanted to retire the game before I played him because he didn't want to lose and that be his last game as me beating him. So I've always said I lived rent free in his head and now I've got a mansion there. So I look forward to his return to continue the rivalry, but it is a little sad. I feel like anytime a
Yeah.
good friend of yours and a good competitor and a good player and a good guy leaves,
Yeah.
even if it's for a month or two, like it sucks. I mean, it just
Yeah.
does.
I feel for Gutta, man.
It does.
That's his boy. That's his dog. You don't want to. That's probably he's feeling it the most, and then probably the AFC West too is feeling
Yeah.
it pretty bad here because
AJ was happy.
they're staring at one team in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
AJ's looking in. I think he'll win it next season, but that division was very competitive, and now it's taking a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, no, it's interesting what's going to happen, how it's going to shake out, guys. As we round out here on the show, the first episode is in the books of Excuse the Disturbance. How are you feeling, Young Hertz?
That was a great episode, and I think this is going to be a fun time to touch on all the topics, and we're going to talk a little SML. We're going to have a little fun.
Guys, that is Young Hertz, Hertz Money. I'm Primetime 000 23 time SML champion. Until next time, thanks for watching. Have a great day.